Imagination is reality. I know that you have heard this before if you are watching this YouTube channel or these videos, and maybe you've heard it on other YouTube channels or read it in books. Neville Goddard is the person that has said this pretty frequently. However, I heard this for years, but I really didn't get it. And I really want you to get this, that imagination is the reality. It is the only reality. And we're going to dive into this because once you accept this, once you really shift into this truth, this fact, your life will never be the same again. And you will see everything for what it is. And I want to dive into this 3D, 4D, this movie, the reflection, the projector, all of these terms that everyone, I think that so many people at some point become so immune to. They hear them and they use them, but they're not really understanding, because when you do, all the fear, doubt, questioning of where's my manifestation, or how am I doing this, or am I doing it right, or am I doing it wrong? All of those kind of questions and fears will go away. Stick with me, because this is going to be a video that I intend will help so many really step into their power. So before we get started, welcome. My name is Rose, and welcome to The Rosey Life, where we help you free your mind and follow your heart so you can live the life that you love. If you're interested in working one-on-one with me, you can go to TheRoseyLife.com. The link is down below, or you can join the Rosey Life community and course, where you can get support and be with other like-minded people. We meet once a week, and I answer questions live, and we have so much fun on those lives. So you can also just find all the information below. And March 6th, the Chicago Rosey Life Retreat is coming up. If you're interested, you have to email me directly for the information for that, and I will send you all the details on how to sign up and what that is going to look like. All right, so now let's get to this. So I know that, and for me personally, okay, that when I heard these words, imagination is reality, Neville Goddard really says this the most. I mean, he like pounds it in and pounds it in. But some of the teachers that even use it, you're like, okay, imagination creates reality. I know my imagination is God. And I feel like they're just flyover statements, and that people just repeat it, like just because it sounds good, or because someone told you and now you're repeating it, and you're just like, okay, I'm going to say that, and then I'm going to affirm, and so that I can get what I want. It almost feels like that I really want you to understand and really grasp and sink your teeth into. During the retreat in San Diego last week, I actually did this with the people that were there, and I asked them, and I kept repeating this: imagination is reality. And I kept repeating it slowly. And when any of them wanted to ask a question or have think something about it, I just paused them and I said, just stick with it. Just let that resonate with you. Let that sink in. Because sometimes we just get so busy talking about terms or using terms in the manifesting world, right? Or Neville Goddard terms, or Abraham Hicks terms, or whatever, right? That we skip over the meaning of them. And the meaning, what this is saying, imagination is reality. It's a statement of fact. It's not a feel-good statement. It's not, it does feel good, but it's not just something to say. It is the truth. It holds all the questions to all of your answers, to all of your doubts, to all of your wonders and hows and buts. That one statement holds the answer to all of it. Imagination is reality. But what happens is that we are so programmed and so used to seeing what we can see, touch, hear, smell as that being reality. And then if you think about it, even when you grow up, people, and even to this day, people say, come back to reality, right? Plant your feet in reality, get real. All of those kind of terms that we hear is stop imagining, stop dreaming, stop wishful thinking. That's not realistic. How is it going to really work? This is what most of us grow up hearing and being programmed. So then we become very dependent on the senses to prove to us what is real. But that is actually the opposite, because what is real is invisible to the senses completely. What is real has nothing to do with the senses. In fact, I know that even myself included, and so many teachers and so many books and so many coaches, that we use the terms the 3D reality, the 4D reality, that we have 5D reality, right? That the inner world, the outer world, and we use all of these terms, and I feel like at some point it becomes very like moot, right? Like people just turn it off. You just turn off because the brain is habitual, and once it hears something over and over and over again, it's like a song. Like once you hear a song, it's like you get stuck in your head, and you sing it and you sing it, but then after a while, like the song, you're just like, what's new? Let's hear a new song, right? So you're just like, oh yeah, I remember that word, or I remember that song. And like it loses its luster because you don't really understand what you're saying, because when you do, you're just like, oh, wow. Imagination is reality. So I even feel compelled to suggest that we get away from using the word or the phrase 3D reality, because there's only one reality, and that is your imagination. And even Neville Goddard talks about imagination is God. Dr. Joseph Murphy, same thing. Your imagination is God. Your imagination is reality. That's all it is. And Neville talks about that if you want to have the key to success, to manifesting, that your faith in God is that success, that key that he talks about. So remember what your faith in God, but what is God? God is your imagination. So your faith is in imagination, or God, whichever one you want to call it. So that he says the key to it is having faith in your imagination, which is God. So you can say any one of those, right? However, what we have learned to put more faith in is in what we can see or experience with the senses, the 5 senses, seeing things, touching things, right? Or hearing it, or tasting it. And if it's not coming through one of those senses, then we don't deem it as real. And instead, we look for proof or evidence with the senses to show us that it's real. And that is why people get really stuck into how, and they're not seeing anything, and they don't have it yet, because they keep looking in this experience. Like, let's even get away from calling it for 3D, like just for this video, for fun, to start, see how it goes. Because remember, I want to shake it up, right? I want you guys to really like dust out all this cobwebs of all the stuff that you've already learned, and just really come back to square one, let's say, right? Where what you've been calling 3D, right? Let's say it's the movie, okay? Let's just say it's the movie, it's the playground, the movie. But you've been so sucked into this movie, right? Thinking that the movie is real, when imagination is real. Imagination is reality. And even one step further, the movie, because it's a reflection, right? The movie is not even the present. Like me doing this video right now, you watching this video right now, it is not the present. You are experiencing past right now. And even me saying now, this is already the past. Why? Because the imagination, when you thought of it, when you imagined yourself watching a video, that was what is present. That is what's real. Imagination is always eternal now. Always eternal now. And when we experience it in the movie with the senses, that's already in the past. You see that? So I really want to break these things down a little further to hopefully help many of you really understand and digest. I had a session with a client last night, and I was doing this with her, really just moving her away from thinking about things so much, and instead identifying and really putting her awareness on I am, that I am all of it, everything. I am complete. I am fulfillment. I am. And every time she wanted to, but what about this? Or how do I think about it? Or how do I stay there? Or how do I stay in that I am? How do I do? Every time she wanted to wander off, I'd bring her back to I am. Because I am is everything. I am is all. So I love this scripture that Neville Goddard shares in one of his lectures of Imagination Creates Reality. And even saying imagination creates reality, kind of like for some people I notice it implies that it's in the future, it's something that you got to do to create it, right? So he also uses imagination is reality, and I prefer that because for me it really shifted into seeing that imagination is the all, it is everything. But in one of his lectures, he quotes this from the book of John, and he says, if we know he hears us in whatever we ask of him, then we know we have already obtained the request made of him. I'm going to read this again, but remember, when he's saying when we ask of him, that is God. And what is God? The imagination. How do we make a request? By imagining it, by thinking it, or assuming it, or scripting it. That's all in the imagination, okay? So again, if we know he hears us, and how do we know? Because if we are able to think it, I am, God, imagination, is thinking it with you. You cannot have a thought without God thinking it with you at the same time, because there's only one. My Father and I are one, okay? So we know he hears us, and you can hear yourself. So if you can hear yourself, God is hearing your thought, your assumption, your affirmation, seeing what you're seeing. It's happening at the same time. So if we know he hears us in whatever we ask of him, then we know we have already obtained the request made of him. So you have obtained the request in imagination. And what is imagination? It is reality. And everything that is done within must be pushed out into the movie. Now I drew you a little picture. So this is what most people are doing here, right? Here's you. We're going to get to that in a second, okay? So here's you. And most people do this. They think, oh, I'm going to use my imagination like it's something that I do, right? Like you feel separate, your little body, and then you have this imagination, right? And you don't like something in 3D. You like my little 3D people? You don't like something you see in 3D or you want something changed in 3D, whether it be people, money, car, job, whatever, right? So you're just like, I'm over here, little old me, or big me, or tall me, or short me, whatever. You're like, here's me, the unique, special, separate me. I'm going to use my imaginal power, and I'm going to change that thing in 3D. This is quite honestly what I used to do too. And this is where I think a lot of people do. So then they think they're going to force it, affirm it more, visualize it more, use their tool, this imagination thing, to make something happen here in 3D. I'm going to use this and I'm going to change everything like magic. Like, yeah, I'm over here, you 3D are over there, or whatever in 3D is over there, and I'm going to use my tool to change that. Yeah. No, let me introduce you to what the fact is, right? You are not separate, okay? You, including everything in this 3D or this movie, right? It's all inside of imagination. You think that it's something that you do, that you utilize, but you, including everything in there, is inside of your imagination. And you, the I am awareness, are aware of everything that you're thinking, seeing, feeling, doing, experiencing with the senses. You are aware of everything. And your awareness, with your awareness, right, you are one with the I am. You have the ability to use your free will and choose to change the experience that you are in. Do you see? And this is just representing one reality, by the way, because I can draw like infinite bubbles, and those are infinite realities. But your imagination isn't just some bubble. You are imagination. Everything is within imagination. You're thinking that it's something out here and then the 3D is over here. See all the separate stuff? No, it's all in, it's all one, And the I, right? My Father and I are one. My Father and I are one, right? It's all one. There is nothing separate. I wanted to kind of draw you guys a little picture. There's so many ways that I wanted to draw that picture. And I thought, this idea that things are separate from us is what really needs to get addressed. Imagination is a separate thing, that 3D is another separate thing. And it's like, no, there's only one imagination, and there's only one reality. And imagination is the one and only reality. Everything else doesn't even to my opinion, doesn't even deserve the term reality. 3D is not a reality. It is a version of a reality, but it's not the reality. Because I feel like when we give this reality label to things, we go back to identifying with the senses and needing to see the proof, and we call it reality. There's only one reality, and that is your imagination. And everything comes from there. Everything begins there. It is the beginning and it is the end. Everything else is a movie. It's a projection, the reflection of what you do within your reality. And once you guys really sink your teeth into that, you're just like, well, this is a joke, what I've been trying to change. Why even try to change anything out here when it's a projection of what I'm doing in my imagination, which is God, which is the only reality. I intend that this video was so helpful. I cannot wait to hear from you. Comment down below. Let me know what you think. I love you guys so much. Thank you for liking the video and subscribing to the channel and sharing my channel with others. I appreciate you. It helps the channel grow and really get this message out there around the world. I love you guys so much, and I truly am grateful for all of you. Thank you. You are all so freaking amazing, and I will see you soon. Bye.